Okay, so I'm procrastinating here. I'm going to make this video because somebody in the piano learning subreddit was asking about this accompaniment. They were actually curious if it was doable by one person. So I'm here to show that it indeed is doable by a single human being. It's not even that terribly difficult. It's simple. I don't know if that doesn't always mean easy. Anyway, I'm sick, as you can probably hear, so I'm going to be a little bit not all here. This is unfortunate because my gig schedule right now is just insane. This is the worst possible time for me to get sick. Holy crap. And I have a gig in 2 days where I need to be singing. So we're going to see how that goes. There may be some transposition involved to fit things in my vocal range. Anyway, to the point, man. I ramble enough as it is. Let's see how bad it is when I'm sick. So I'll probably put the thing in the doobly-doo, whatever, down there, the original video of this, so that you can get an idea of what the original sounds like, because I'm not going to play it quite like that. Probably not at tempo, the whole thing. I'm just trying to give an idea of how this is done. It's something you could easily practice up to. I'm not there. I'm kind of doing this on the spot because I heard it and I could tell what was happening. So let's see. So it has this kind of flowing thing. Sorry. Wow, I can't. Yeah, that kind of thing. That's kind of what's going on. It's kind of like that. And then it goes back down. And then you just changes chords. I listened to like 10 seconds of it just to kind of get a feel for it. I don't remember the chord progression, but I do think the first chord was A flat. So we're going to start with A flat. It's also really easy to feel black keys. Like topographically, you can feel your black keys really well. So what I've got going on here, you just need to be able to spell your chords, just major triads basically. You can apply this to any chord progression and do all kinds of cool shit with it. So you just need to know that you're spelling your so C, A flat major, your root is A flat, third is C, and fifth is E flat. So down here I've got this 1-5-1. Root 5 root. So, and then just right up, I'm just taking the next note in that chord. When you're down low, you kind of want to leave that space and leave the third out because it gets muddy. But when you come up here, I'm just grabbing the next note with my right hand. So I've run out of fingers here, and I just want to get the next few notes here. So I have 6 notes that I can hit really quickly. And what I'm trying to aim at doing is I'm making sort of this. You can think of it a lot of different ways. You can think of it as a sextuplet, or 2 sets of triplets, or you could just think of it in 12/8, or 6/8. But you're doing this, and then I'm jumping up just to another inversion of it. So my left hand jumps up. Now the thing is, you'd probably roll up in your right hand on the second group. What you're thinking is that there's this target note up here, because when you listen to the recording, if you took out all of the rolling stuff, you have sort of a melody where they're just accenting notes in the top voice, so you get this really heavy downbeat, ding dong, ding dong, that kind of thing. Everything else is filler. So there's your starting out, ding dong. Right? So it's just that. Bum, bum. So yeah, I just think about where you're getting to that target, because almost all the notes in between don't matter. Like, if you'll watch my right hand, I could hit this C on the way, and I could make that work. So let's try it with the C. I can hit all those notes. Or I could leave the C out and just do on the top. You can't tell the difference, really. Because all that really matters is you're accenting that note. And if anything, I tend to want to leave some space and leave the C out, so that there's this space between this A flat and this melody note that I'm hitting, so that the accent's easier to come out easily. It's more distinct from the rest of the voicing of the chord. Whereas if I add that C in there, you kind of hear yourself rolling up to it. Even if you go fast, and even if you really accent it, you hear yourself rolling into it. So I'll leave it out so that the accent's a little more clear. Have no idea what was happening in the original. The point to keep in mind is that this is an effect. It's an accompaniment pattern. You can use it on anything. You don't have to use exactly what they were playing. You just want to make it sound good, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, we're getting that top note. From the top note, what I'm doing is I'm just basically reversing things back down because there's the space. So once again, we're thinking that bum, bing, bum. Wow, I wish I could sing. And almost what notes and what beats you're playing on don't matter much. Now, the thing is, to actually practice this, you would have to slow it down and kind of practice it metrically and figure out what you want it to be. So if I slowed this down and I really thought about it rather than just making these sort of large gesture arpeggios where I'm not thinking about individual notes and timing, I'd have to slow it down and think, let's see. Yeah, see how that is hard. Yeah, something like that's what I would do. And to leave that space here, I'm actually leaving a little. There's not a note on every beat or subdivision of the beat. I notice I'm really weak at rolling back down. This is the thing, it's just it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, like I said, because you'll have to build up your technical facility to do this. The thing is, if you know these shapes in your hands, one of those an exercise like doing just this, it makes it really easy to just jump between these shapes. One that I'm much less good at is doing it with the octave triads. Anybody who's been hanging out with me for too long knows that my weakness is an octave triad. They have small hands, and I don't jump to those shapes quite as quickly. I jump really fast to these 1-5-1 shapes, though, because for the most part in your left hand, you aren't running into a lot of 4-note octave triad chords because it's muddy, like I said. But yeah, so basically you're just jumping between these shapes. I'm literally, if you look at what I'm doing, because like that exercise I just played, that's what I'm doing, right? And you could keep going all day long, right? I'm actually trying to look at my hands here, and the microphone's in the way. And so on and so forth up the keyboard. And you can do this in any key. You could pick another set of chords. If I want to do it like with F, oh God, brain. Yeah. And it's the same thing. I mean, obviously I'd need to practice it, reality is like, I don't have this right at my fingers. That's the reality. But yeah, obviously this is something that I could practice up to be usable pretty quickly. This is kind of a cool little pattern. It's a little flashier than something that I ever need to use personally, but these are usually things I would use as fills. There are a lot of things that I use as fills. This is a really cool fill pattern. If you want to fill this all the way up the keyboard at the end of a tune or like between sections, that's a really cool place to use something like this that's just more of an effect and it's not meant to be super metric. But yeah, I mean, it's cool and it's totally doable by one person. And anytime you're hearing these really fast things like this, it usually is it's just broken up arpeggios between hands. So just be listening for that. And if you can spell your chords, like, you can do whatever. And you could apply this to a 1-4, whatever, just like a pop pattern. Right? You could just keep going. I'm not quite all mentally here, guys. So I'm not quite on top of it. But anyway, hopefully that was helpful. And I think I should call it off. But hey, I did do a little bit of adjusting. You'll have to give me some feedback. Did some adjusting of my layout a little bit, a little upgrade here. because the camera askew was kind of a mess. It was a really good office layout for me work-wise, but this isn't terrible. I can still see my large TV monitor over there. It's just kind of off to the left now. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I've got work that I have to do, and I need to go gargle something. So hopefully this was helpful. Oh, and by the way, thanks to all my patrons who are so awesome. I don't understand why you people are so awesome and supportive. And I got a new patron this morning, and that kind of blew my mind, because it's like, what's that about? Yeah, Mike C. So that's really cool. Considering I don't feel like I'm super consistent with posting right now, that my life has fallen apart with the amount of gigs I've taken on. I told myself I wouldn't do this. Anyway, yeah, thanks guys. I am going to go try to get a little bit more something. Bye.